Welcome back, everyone, to another episode of the podcast From the Depths of Darkness to the Light of Success. I am your host, Chris Swick, and on this show, we're going to talk about addictions, mental health, mental illness, anything anyone's afraid to talk about. We're going to talk about it today, and in every episode, I want to break the stigma around anything anyone's afraid to talk about. At the end of the day, I believe everyone's story is valuable. Doesn't matter what walk of life you come from. Everyone matters to me. And with no further ado, I'd love to introduce to you from the West Coast, Alika Gambill. Sorry if I butchered it, buddy.
No, that's exactly how you say my name.
You want to let them know a little bit about you and what you do?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. My name is Alika, and I identify as a sober alcoholic and drug addict. So I recently started a nonprofit organization called Pro Recovery Power. Now, it's to help people who's struggling with addiction, period. I thought I'm a counselor as well. I'm sober myself, going on 5 years. I can do that, like sponsees and stuff. I'm a 12-stepper. Like I can still help people that way. But I just feel God put this call in my heart to do this so I can reach people at a much higher level. And I said, okay. Okay, I'm down. I'm game, God, let's go. But it didn't start like this. So give you a little history. We have only been around. We recently became a nonprofit. I started Pro Recovery Power. It was originally started on Instagram as just a recovery page. And why I started that was, it was in the middle of the pandemic last year. And I started to think to myself, well, how can I help somebody? How can I help and be of service to other people right now that's still struggling? Because they don't got the same resources I had when I got sober. Everything was shut down. And so that's where that thought started. And amazingly, because of the process of recovery, I have thoughts of other people today. It's not just about myself anymore. But that's how it started, me thinking of somebody other than myself. So I went on there, I created a page, I started just posting some inspirational things. And then I had the idea, I'll start going live with other addicts, other alcoholics, people in recovery, people who are not in recovery, people who are sober. To me, I am a 12-stepper, but the guests that I have on that go live with me, I've been doing it over a year now. It doesn't matter to me how they got sober. If they once struggled with an addiction and they no longer do, people got to hear about that. People, their solution in these people's stories. So I started doing that. And then from there, I did a podcast in Pasadena with my friend Johnny from Grounded Phoenix. And he was filming at the shop, a Team 12 shop. And Nick is the owner of Team 12. And then after the podcast was over, I got to meet Nick and talk with him. We became friends. And Nick has his own recovery clothing line. And I started to think, oh, wait, that's a good idea. I should start doing that, kind of get the word out. And then not too long after, it was the Instagram page, the lives, clothing line, website, or YouTube page. And then I started recovery meetings that I host every Wednesday night at 7 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. Everything started opening back up. I started to do panels at Sober Livings in my area. And then, boom, we became a nonprofit. Probably, I would say maybe 2 months ago or something, like right around there. We were officially, it's a process. That's why a lot of paperwork, a lot of headaches, a lot of like detailed, tedious things that like, it doesn't excite me too much. Put a drug addict in front of me. That gets me excited. Let's do that. But my wife has been a huge helper, huge support for me in my own personal recovery, along with Pro Recovery Power as well. She's a registered agent for the nonprofit. My wife is involved with everything that I do. My wife supports me in everything that I do. And to be honest, all I do is recovery. That's it. You're not going here, doing this. No, everything is recovery. My whole life is about recovery. And my wife supports that. Now, if you guys hear what I just said and you guys don't do this. Don't go to your spouse and say, hey, look, that guy's wife or that guy's spouse supports him. My wife supports me because she sees evidence of me, of what I'm doing. I'm not just sitting around at home waiting for somebody struggling to call me. No, I'm very proactive. My home is about recovery because I'm just so passionate about it because my life was saved. God spared my life for a purpose and I found it through my addiction, birthed my purpose. And I'm super, super passionate about it. And my wife sees that. My wife sees that fire in me. She sees, I answer my phone late in there when people call me when they need help. They just need somebody to talk to or need somebody to talk them off the ledge. And I got my sponsees. I have my own clients that I meet with as well. And she supports me because she sees what I'm doing. I'm not just waiting around for something to happen. I'm very good at taking action. I'm a doer. I was a doer active in my addiction too. Don't get me wrong. I knew how to keep hounding the dope dealer. Oh, where you at? You're over there now. Okay, stay there. I'm going to go there. I got to think of what lies I told who and this and that, and pushing my body and my mental health to the limits. That's a lot of hard work. And all of that was intentional. I was a doer. If anybody identifies as a drug addict or an alcoholic, we're not strangers to hard work. We know how to work hard. We know how to lie. We know how to scheme. We know how to steal. We know all that stuff, but it always comes with some sort of consequences, some sort of ramification, whether it's paranoia, a drug dealer looking for you with his boy, or so-and-so's, this girl you slept with, a brother looking for you because you dissed her after you slept with her, or whatever it could be. But today, that's what my life looks like right now. And we're having our first Pro Recovery Power fundraiser actually happening next month, November 6th. It's going to be in Anaheim. So we're super excited about that. Shortly after that event, me and my family, I'm taking them, we're moving back to Hawaii because I started it to help people specifically in the state of Hawaii that need help because there's no recovery, like nothing going on over there. And I know God is calling me. I can feel it. God called me to go there. I really didn't want to. And I knew I wouldn't have to because I knew my wife never wanted to live in Hawaii. She just wanted to visit. So we were there in May, and then we're stayed at the Hilton. We're in the jacuzzi. And then she tells me, you know what? I think we should move to Hawaii. I was like, oh, okay, God. I heard you. I was excited about it too, though, because I was like, okay, my wife was the hurdle. She was the only reason why we wasn't going to Hawaii. God worked on her heart. She shared it with me. She threw me the ball, boom, and I went running. So a lot of people need help out there, and that's my people, the Hawaiian people, the Filipinos, the Portuguese, the Chinese, plenty, all kind of different cultures live in Hawaii. All kind of Polynesian, Tongans, Fijians, plenty of people, not just people of Hawaii, people around the whole world. But I feel God sending me back home because I have an advantage over somebody with a PhD that show up with a suit and tie. I show up back. I look like them. I talk like them. I get the same tattoos like them. I eat the same food as them. We cut from the same cloth. So it's I can reach their hearts a lot better, I guess you could say, versus somebody that's not from Hawaii, I guess you could say. Yeah.
So what was life like before recovery for you a few years ago, Alika?
Oh, bro, it was just like active in my addiction. You talking about?
Yeah, what was life? Were you into the gang life, or what were you into out in
Oh,
California? Or were you in California when you sort of got cleaned up?
yeah. So I got sober up here. I tell you what my life was like. Honestly, it's very simple to sum up. My life was all about me. That's really what my life was about. Oh,
Same for
like
me too. When I was in active addiction, but now you got to be selfless, not selfish.
I have to learn now, man. And it took a minute for me to learn
I'm
that.
still learning it too, almost 2 years clean sober, man.
Yeah. But to be honest, like that's what life was like. It was all about me. Had plenty drugs, had plenty alcohol, plenty girls, plenty things. The reason why I got into it, I know that in the big book of Alcoholics Anonymous and the doctor's opinion, it talks about the allergy, the phenomenon of craving. It talks a lot about it. I didn't get sober through AA, but I know a lot about it. I've read a lot of literature and things like that. It talks about the effect that it produced, the effect alcohol produces. That's why we like it. So initially, though, that really wasn't the truth of why I started drinking and what I started drinking first. What I recently, like the light bulb went on recently in my mind about why. And it was because I wanted to be accepted. I wanted to be loved. I wanted to feel important. I wanted to be heard. I wanted to be one of the boys. And that was the initial, okay, everybody's drinking. Yes, I want to fit in. Let's drink then. All my older cousins, I come from a big family. Just on my dad's side of the family alone, I have over 2,000 family members. So it's a
Wow.
family I got, a lot of older cousins I looked up to, and I wanted to be just like them, about how I did everything like them. And they were all extroverts. So I had a huge problem. Naturally, I am introverted. Even to this day, people don't know that about me because they only see me doing recovery stuff. Anything to do with recovery, I'm full blown extrovert, like on steroids. Like even just around my family, they're all over. I'm not passionate and I'm not really, the life of the party. I can just be hanging out, watching TV, and they can be all talking and pretty quiet, pretty to myself. Naturally, that's how I am. But so I was like, boom, first drunk. Oh man, miracle. Now I feel like like my older cousins now. I'm so confident. I can talk to all the chicks. I can actually hold a conversation with another human being. Like I don't
Good
really
old liquid courage.
yeah, liquid courage. And that's initially how it started because prior to even taking a drink, I already bought into this lie that the world was telling me. The world tells us, and for those of you listening, it might sound familiar. Like this is pretty much what the world is telling me. You got to dress a certain way. You got to look a certain way. Your muscles got to be a certain size. You got to have this group of friends. You got to have this much money. You got to have the big gold chain. You got to have all the chicks on your arm. You got to have the big truck, the lifted truck, big tires, surf every day, be the popular one, have so many people like your stuff, tons of people following you. So that's the lies. All the world was telling me, all these lies. And I bought into all of them, hook, line, and sinker. And everything that this world promised me, oh God, don't worry, the sex will make you feel good, the drugs will make you feel good, using people will make you feel good, you get away with stuff, stealing will make you feel good, hurting people will make you feel good. All of that was a lie. None of that made me feel good. It always made me feel worse. But then when I finally figured that out, I got to this point where I crossed the line already into full-blown addict and alcoholic, to where once I started, I couldn't stop. So by the time I recognized that, it was too late for me. I was like, psh, well, my experience showed me once I start, I can't stop. So why did I even try to stop? I might as well just keep going. I made a decision about 10 years. It was 20 years active in addiction. 10 years into it, I made a decision already. I'm either going to die from it or I'm going to die with it. That's it. Because every time I have tried to even fight against just the thought of drinking and using, you just run me over like a Mack truck. It was always just a landslide victory for drugs and alcohol. I couldn't even focus. Like, I could be at the movie theater, eating dinner, and then all of a sudden I got to figure out how I can get out of here, because I got to go get my dope now. I got to go start drinking now. Like, how am I going to do this? It was just a vicious cycle of torment. That in life, we will go through two different pains: the pain of change and the pain of staying the same. For me, I got to a certain point where the pain was just so excruciating. I was like, hey, sign me up now. But prior to that, like, I was raising my hand for, like, anything that can hurt me, anything that will destroy my body, anything that will crush my mental health, anything that will destroy all my relationships. I'm like, sign me up for that too. That's how it started. I didn't get sober in Hawaii. I got sober out here in California. I've been here for 5 years. It was October of 2016 I got here, and I got sober in February of 2017, on the 17th. And long story short, I kept my drug use a secret from my immediate family. I developed like this certain way of thinking and these certain behaviors. And I developed them really quickly over the years. And I got very good at manipulating. And I had a master's degree in deception. I was a super good liar. And you gotta be, to keep that a secret for 20 years, you have to be a good liar. And I sure was. So my sister, basically, I got caught. I got caught in a bunch of lies, which is lie. But my sister lived in California, and my brother, they've been living up here for 25 years or something like that. So they weren't really around when I was going, running and active addiction and stuff. They come home to visit and everything once in a while, but they never lived there. So they never got to see me, what I was like, my attitude, how I carried myself and things like that. So when the truth finally came out, my sister didn't even believe me already. But at that moment where my deep, dark secret came from out of the dark into the light, it was just this comforting, this ease and comfort kind of feeling that I got, which was the same feeling initially drugs and alcohol gave. That sense of relief and, oh, yes, I feel good. It was just a temporary thing. They don't tell you it's going to come with all these different consequences, jails, institutions, death, and the old IRS, so much money. Oh my gosh, I have paid them every penny though. Now I'm cool. Thank God for that. So that's how I got sober. That's how it started initially. Because I got caught, I was like, wow, my family still loved me. I never died. Nothing bad happened. Because I was ready. That's the point I want to stress. I was ready. I tried to get into treatment. I applied for the insurance in California, the free one. And I tried to call different treatment centers. I called, no, call tomorrow, call for a bed. No, call tomorrow. About a week went by and I was like, oh no, I don't know. I probably could use, I better do something. I was like, oh, let me check out this 12-step stuff people talk about. I've seen them in movies and everything. So I looked up a 12-step meeting in my area and I found one. It was at noon. I went down there. My sister-in-law dropped me off and I get there. I didn't know what to expect. I actually had no expectations. I was just like, bro, I'm dying and I need help. Can you guys help me? Really, that's really what I was there for. And I identify as a newcomer. And after the meeting was over, I forgot if I shared or not. I don't think I did, or maybe I did. I don't know. But after the meeting was over, this big black guy, he beelines it right to me. He shakes my hand. He buys me a book. I still got the book. And then he says, here, call this guy. And then that guy became my sponsor 4 days later, and he's still my sponsor.
That's amazing.
Yeah. And I just met with him a few days ago. And so And then that's how I got into recovery. Like the rest is kind of history. I could talk about it. I probably should talk about it because there was so much freedom in 12 steps, in working my 12 steps. One and two, one was super easy for me. That was obvious. I knew that one. Admitting basically.
So we were powerless.
Yeah. Yeah.
Drops down and just ask for reprieve and ask for help.
Uh-huh. I got through that. All the steps, especially that fourth one, was really, I got to really discover and learn who I really was. Like really. Because I was so good at lying. I lied to myself for years and I believed it. And my mind would shield me from the negative, horrific things I have done and I did to other people, to my own physical body, to my finances, everything. And that one was a struggle for my sponsor. He helped me. He helped me. He held me accountable. He helped me talk out some things because like I could do 1,000 things wrong to this one person. I will only remember the one thing I did for them. The one time I helped, but all the other times that I stole from them, I did this. I don't remember that stuff. My mind only would go toward the one thing I did. That fourth step really exposed me for who I really was. And I found out, I was like, oh man, I'm not the nice guy I thought I literally thought I was a really nice person because I have a good heart. Even in active addiction, I had a good heart. I could never express it. I could never show it because the drugs and alcohol just totally dominated me. There was no, if I did something nice for somebody, if I went out of my way to do something or something like that, it was because I want something from you. It wasn't because, holy, I'm such a nice guy.
There was a motive behind it for me.
Yeah, it was.
Oh, I'll do this for you, but there's always something behind it that I needed money or I needed something in return.
Yeah, exactly. So you need this. Whoa, like I'm gonna get that ass. I'm gonna get something. You're gonna give me something back or whatever it is. I would charm the girls till they gave it up and stuff. And back then, my body looked a lot different. I was way more in shape back then. And so going through my fourth step, I had so much resentments. I had so much fears. I was totally unaware of. There's those three inventories: fear, resentment, fear, and then the sex inventory. And for me personally, that's where I found the most freedom in all 12 of the steps. Me personally, though, it is in that fourth step because I was such a good liar. I was such a good victim. I could point the finger and blame everybody in my life for everything and anything that went wrong, and I can justify it. And if somebody from the outside looking in, if I explained it to them, they would be like, "Oh, yeah, that makes a lot of sense. I can see." Almost like validating my resentments and things. I never did no wrong in my eyes. You know what I mean? I just was I was being deceived by myself. So once that step was really designed to introduce me to her, but not just like you're a piece of trash, bro, and then that's it. No, bye. It was okay. I acknowledge, yes, this is really what I'm like. Really, this is really what I'm like because I already conceded into my innermost self. Yeah, okay. But then now, okay, now I have opportunities to make adjustments, change some things, and grow. And that's exactly what I did. So after I completed my fourth step, I was no longer a victim. I had proof on paper in my own handwriting. After that fourth step was complete, I stopped cutting myself and blaming the knife. I was able to take responsibility for where I was at in my life for literally the very first time. And I was 33 years old. It took me 33 years to grow up. That's a long time. And of course, I shared that with my sponsor in my fifth step, 6, 7, 8. Skip through a little bit. I could talk about it the whole time. That's why I made my list. I made my amends to everybody in California that I've ever hurt. I made my amends here because my sponsor taught me that if you can make it in person, even if you got to wait or you got to travel, whatever, do it that way. Like last case or worst case scenario, okay, maybe write them an email or call them or reach out to them somehow. And I've only done one like that before. But the rest of my amends that I have to make is back home in Hawaii. And I'm really excited to make those because that's where I found more freedom too. The fourth step, I was freed from the bondage of self in the fourth step. The ninth step, I became free of people. It's not really connected to the ninth step technically, but right around that time, I became free of people in regards to what they think about me. Oh, I got to do this. I got to look a certain way. I still was struggling with that, even all the way up into my ninth step. But then I love 10, 11, 12, man. 10, continue to take personal inventory. When wrong, properly admit it, check the ego. A lot of humility is involved in that. And 11, basically, continue to build my relationship with God. 12, carry the message to somebody else. 10, 11, my sponsor told me, he told me, a 10, 11, 12 will prevent a 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. If you fail to 10, 11, 12, then at that time, you probably build up not enough resentments and all these things to where, okay, it will make sense to work your steps all over again. Because he said, I actually went through the big book with my sponsor. then work my steps. But he said, look, nowhere in this book do they talk about working the steps multiple times. And then he said, this is why. And he explained it to me. I have friends that have worked it multiple times. I'm not against it or anything. Like, I'm for it. But that's what he taught me. And that's what I have done. So here, I can tell you, I keep track of how long I've been sober. But here, this is another thing I keep track of. To me, this one is more important to me than the sober time. Now, I have been resentment free for 2 years, 7 months, 27 days, 6 hours, 26 minutes, and 52 seconds. I hold that one in higher regard than no more drugs, no more alcohol for me. Because that wasn't even my problem in the first place. That was always my solution. Try not copying a resentment. See how long you can do that, bro. That's where the rubber meets the road because I understood it. I went through my fourth step. It was so clear as day to me, exactly how everything was explained, everything that I read. I understood. I don't, drugs, alcohol does not need to be involved for me to ruin my life or to end my life. I can end my life or somebody else's one or destroy mine or somebody else's one off of resentment. It is the dubious luxury for normal men, but for somebody like me, it's poison. It's fatal. It's infinitely grave. I've understood that because I operated like that in my thinking for 2 decades. It made so much sense. And I'm like, you know what? I will not copy resentment to anybody else the rest of my life. And
I love that you say that about resentments too, Alika, because same thing. We don't, me and my partner, me and my fiance now, we try not to hold resentments at all. Like if we have a problem with each other, if we're having a fight, everyone has fights. I'm sure you and your wife have
yeah,
like arguments and fights all the time.
absolutely.
We don't hold those fights. So if it's not going to matter 5 minutes, 5 days, 5 years from now, we find a solution right away and move past it. That's what the whole point of it. My conversation was there. Find the solution instead of having a grudge against one another.
Yes. Yeah, absolutely. And the only reason why I cannot copy resentment, number one, is for my own sake, my own sanity, for my own life. Literally, my life depends on it, literally. And the reason why I can do that and I can forgive very easily. I can show love very easily today. I can show compassion. I can offer grace and mercy. And it's so simple. It's because God has done that for me. It's so simple. And it's because I'm so grateful for it. I just am compelled to, okay, if somebody hurts me, everything I learned in every kind of recovery literature, our relationship with God. I'm also a Christian. I read my Bible and all of that stuff, all these things combined. I'm just like, I think about all the horrible things I did. I go, bro, I can forgive you, no problem. Because God forgave me when I can show you mercy because God showed me mercy. There was so much bullets with my name on it. And some people, they may not understand. Okay, I'm glad I thought about this. So I want to like talk real quick about God's grace and his mercy because it's not the same thing. People use it interchangeably, but it's not the same thing. Basically, God's grace is him giving me something that I don't deserve. Like, to be honest, I don't deserve to have the life I have. I don't deserve to have the wife that I have, the son that I have. I don't deserve that stuff. I don't deserve to have money in the bank. Really, what I deserve is to be in jail or to be dead, really, because of how I used to live my life. So it's God giving me something that I don't deserve. That's his grace. God's mercy is him not giving me something that I do deserve. For instance, like I was just talking about, all these bullets with my name on it, it all was set, not literally bullets, but the trigger was pulled and the bullet was coming toward me because of decisions I made in my life. So as all of these millions of bullets is flying toward me, God would jump right in the way. I get so emotional, bro.
No, and he takes them for you though.
Yes, he jumps in the way and it's him. And that's why when somebody hurts me, I feel whatever, disrespected. They're talking about me. They did me wrong. They stole from me. I can forgive. I can show mercy because God showed it to me. If he didn't show it to me, bro, I probably wouldn't be on this earth. So that's literally the only reason why I can show love, why I can show grace, why I can show mercy, because God showed it to me. And he didn't have to. I didn't deserve. I still don't, to be honest. But I'm so grateful for that. If it wasn't for his mercy, I recognize his mercy woke me up today. I'm so aware. I'm so aware and alert today about the thoughts I think, about the people I hang around with, the music I listen to, the things I allow my eyes to see. Like, I don't watch and listen to the same kind of things I used to active in my addiction. I don't. And it don't sit right in my spirit. And I know the things I allow my eyes to see and ears to hear has the ability to influence my thinking. And that is what my problem is in the first place. I never had a drinking problem. It was a thinking problem that manifested into a drink problem, or a thinking problem that manifested into a drug problem, an anger problem, a control problem, a sex problem. It all starts in my mind. That's why I renew my mind on a daily basis, because an unrenewed mind will always fight against God. And that's the last thing I want to do. Oh, I'm sorry, bro. I wasn't planning on crying, man. My friend, he was with me the last couple of times I spoke, and I wasn't planning on it. Like, and I started to cry. And I really don't. Like, I'm really intense and I'm passionate. And like, and then he's, oh, bro, man, I get so jealous. I'm going to cry like that.
Hey, it's all good, man.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Real men cry in my mind too, buddy.
Yeah, like I'm not afraid to cry at all. Like,
No, hey,
vulnerable, man. Like honesty, vulnerability, transparency, openness. I found out that is how you reach people that seem unreachable. See, if I go up to somebody struggling and I tell them, "Oh, bro, my life is great. I got married. I'm a counselor. I got my degree. I got this much money." They look at me like, "Bro, get out of here." It's I share with them all the dark places, all my things I did wrong, all those things, so I can humanize myself, and I become relatable all over. Don't look at what my life is like. No, hey, I have to tell you what I used to be like. If not, God doesn't get no glory, because I did not do this on my own. I do not depend on myself to keep me sober. And that might sound weird for people who maybe don't believe in God, but I heavily depend on God to keep me sober. Bro, if I depend on me left to my own devices, hey, I'm feeling good right now. My emotions high. I will get a drink right after this. Get a bar right across the street. But I turn my life and my will over to him. And hey, I'm good. God keeps me sober, man. I depend on him for that.
so who do you look for advice or mentorship? I think we've answered that through the last little while talking.
Okay, so I have a few people that I have that mentor me. I have my sponsor, of course, and my sponsor, he knows more about me and things I have done than any other human being on this planet, including my wife. And it's not like my wife, she just don't want to know. She wants to know enough, and like she don't need to know everything though. She's good. So I'm like, okay. And so I have my sponsor. Oh, I have another guy that mentors me. My dad mentors me as well. So I have multiple people in my life to hold me accountable, to mentor me, to help me, to call me out on things. Because the thing I like about sponsorship, about mentorship, about like coaching or leadership, anything like that, anything like,
They call you out on your bullshit. End of story.
because I can only see me like this. That's it. My mentors, they can see me from here, behind me, from over here. They can always see what I, because I'm biased when it comes to me. So, and that's one of the things I love about like mentorship, sponsorship. These people make me aware of what I'm unaware of. See, once I become aware of something that is like wrong with me or something I might be doing, I can take it and I will fix it. I'm a doer. I'm gonna do it. What do I have to do? Okay. Boom, 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 boom. Like that's how I am, man. I don't sit and procrastinate and wait and like I that has worked against me, to be honest, though, being a doer. I can be a doer so much. I forget about my, to be honest. And I mentioned I was going live for 1 year. In the month of September, I took the whole month off to spend time and give attention to my wife and my son, because I'll give you a glimpse of, at the time, I'm a counselor. I'm working. I was just facilitating groups like all day. I just facilitated groups 3 days a week. I got Pro Recovery Power, Instagram. So I got to create content. I got to think of things. I got to make it. Da, da, da. I got our website. We got recovery merchandise. I got to, pack that, do that, do that. I got people want to do podcasts. I had my own personal program of recovery meetings. I got my sponsees. I got my clients. I meet with my sponsor. I got my own PRP meeting as well, and planning this event and planning that and speaking at this sober living and speaking at this treatment center. I am like tons of stuff going on, and my wife was okay with it. So we had a talk, and it made a lot of sense. I was able, something I had to learn early in recovery. I had to learn how to listen with my ears and not with my mouth. So I already learned that by this point. So as I'm listening to my wife and I learned how to be honest with myself, I was like, okay, yep, you're absolutely right. So this is what I'm going to do, because I'm solution oriented today. I seen the problem. Well, I got a solution for you, babe. I'll just take the month of September off. We ended up going to Hawaii for a week, or no, 10 days or something like that. We did stuff and we hung out. I was present, active in addiction. My presence never made me present. But then in that period of time, sober, in the sober state of mind, my presence still never made me present because I'm so on fire for recovery, helping people. My wife was like, look, you would, at the drop of a hat, you're gone to help somebody struggling with addiction. And you give all your time to the job, to PRP, to other people you're helping and this and that. And then when you come home or like when you turn around, you mean your battery is on 1%. That's what we get. Like the family, her and my son. And I saw it. It made so much sense. I said, you're absolutely right. Here we go. Let's make some adjustments. And we were able to talk it out and figure out a solution.
That's amazing, man. You got to work together, work as a team. And like that was the same with me and my partner when I first started this podcast. It was all about the podcast. I wasn't working at the time either because I had lost my job due to the pandemic. So that's when I decided to start this podcast, and it was like 7 days a week, 24/7, and not having any time for my kids, for my fiance, just not even doing anything for myself. It was just all about the podcast. So I finally said, you know what? One day a week, I create all my content on Wednesdays. I record all my stuff on Wednesdays, and that's that, and no other. And I create my posts and I post them through the week when I need to, but everything's done on one day during the week. The odd time might trickle into another day and she understands, but I let her know though. I communicate that with her. Okay, I'm going to need a couple hours tonight to do that. But for the most part, we've had come up with a solution. Wednesdays is the day.
Yeah. Right on. Yeah. Got to compromise, man.
Yeah.
Like selfish to selfless.
Exactly. And it's a work in progress, but it's getting better and better as the days go on, man.
Mm-hmm.
So how has depression or mental health issues played a role in your recovery or in your addiction?
I was pretty mental. I was pretty insane. I tell people this all the time. The most insane thing I have ever done in my life, that I probably will ever do in my life, is this. In a sober state of mind, I make a decision to drink and to use. You see, that was a huge indicator already when I first got sober that the drugs and alcohol wasn't the problem. Because in a sober state of mind, I chose to drink and use, knowing what is about to happen the days after that, all the destruction, all this stuff, hurting people and damaging my body and my mental health. Toward the end of my drinking and using career, bro, I'll be partying maybe like all night the next day, sometimes 2 days or something. And then I would literally see like dots in my eyes, like blue dots. And I'm like, I'm trying to look, I can see them and I keep turning my head and it keeps moving. Like it's not really there, but in my eyes, I could see it. And same thing, like after partying all night, like when I started like just walking, it felt like one leg was longer than the other. Bro, it was weird, bro. But yeah, that was the most insane mental thing I've ever done. Okay, depression. I've gotten depressed a lot of the time. I never was diagnosed. I probably would have been clinically depressed for sure. I had too much pride. I ain't going to the doctor so they can tell me something wrong with me. Yeah, right. And I can go to a counselor. What do they know? They don't know nothing. I don't want to see a therapist, pay for somebody to tell me stuff I already know about myself. Like, I just had this bad attitude, man, because I had so much pride. Like, man, I knew everything. You can't tell me nothing. So with the depression, my solution to that, to be honest, was, I'm going to drink more then. I'm going to drink more. And I found out in becoming a counselor, alcohol as it was the depressant, it will literally make you more. So, okay, I'm going to put some cocaine in there too. So cocaine and vodka, like that was my drugs of choice, cocaine and vodka. But there was a time where I was too much of a wimp, bro. No matter how drunk I got, I was too much of a wimp to kill myself. I thought about it like on numerous occasions and try to plan it out and do this. And maybe I want to make it look really dramatic. So when I hang myself in my living room with the fan, and I was like, I don't think the fan is strong enough because I'm heavy. Oh, okay, let's think of something else to do. And then eventually I would just wimp out. I'm like, nah, never mind. Because if I do that, I can't drink and use anymore. Like I can't continue to live this crazy life that I don't want to live anyway. But see how insane that thinking is? Like,
oh, it's crazy.
I won't be able to live this insane life that I hate.
Well, there's other things like I thought about those types of things too in active addiction. And even when I got cleaned up too, I had some crazy thoughts just coming down off all the drugs and stuff like that. But at the end of the day, I had to think about it. I have other people to live for. I have 2 children that, need a father in their life. I have a partner that needs someone in their life. I have parents. I have brothers. I have nieces, nephews, you name it. Everyone, I have lots of people out there that care about me and that truly do care about me. At the end of the day, I thought about all those things that every time I had that thought, all those other thoughts would counteract it, though. Thank fucking God. Like, I would see my kids' faces before my eyes sort of thing, and no, they need their dad. Like, what would they do without their father in their lives? And I would those thoughts would go through my head, so at the end of the day, man.
Yeah, you said something that made me think about the process of recovery. I'm like, I'm a totally different human being than I was when I got sober. So like my relationship with God and my recovery, it's one and the same. See, God is for me, God is not in recovery. Recovery is in God. Every time I talk about recovery, I'm talking about God. And this total transformation happened for me in the process of seeking after God and doing the work, the footwork, doing my steps, meeting with my sponsor, going to meetings and doing everything that was suggested. So like I was saying, like previously, like I cannot really watch certain movies. I cannot anymore. It doesn't sit right with me. The music, I hear like these new like people rapping and stuff. I don't even know who they are. And but not just that, this is not something I was trying to do, but something that happened to me in the process of my relationship with God and recovery, basically. So I stopped cussing. I stopped using foul language and I never really realized it. And that's not something I was trying to do, to be honest. But again, it just doesn't sit right with my spirit. I literally F this, F that. And I would just talk like that. It was just like I talked with my friends and I would joking and laughing. And that's just how I talk. It takes so much to get a cuss word out of me today. Like I have to be like fuming, ready to kill somebody, like kind of thing. And it's amazing, like what can happen this transformation that recovery can give us, any of us, really. But that's something you said something that made me think of that.
No worries, man. No, that's good. And I get called out on that too. Like my fiance Megan, Chris, do you realize like every other word for I didn't realize every other word was F this, F that, or whatever else was coming out of my mouth. And she's like, you don't need to swear that much. I get called out on it. I gotta catch myself sometimes too, especially in the industry I work in, sales and stuff too. I can't be talking to clients like that. You want to let me go? I got one more question for you too, man. What's invincible, but you wish people could actually see today?
What's invincible and I wish people could actually see is faith. See, faith is the evidence is the substance of things hoped for, but the evidence of things not seen. So faith is basically, I have faith that this will happen. You can't see it; it's not tangible. You know what I mean? Like love, we can't see love. What does that look like? Kindness, we can see gestures of it and everything like that, but in a physical sense, something that's invincible or invisible.
Invincible, invisible.
Oh, okay, okay. Yeah, honestly, it will be faith because something that I have learned in this whole walk in my journey of recovery is that without faith, it is impossible to please God. Something I know. And my faith has brought me to where I'm at today, to be honest. And to sum everything up, I know I said a lot for anybody that listens to this. The reason why I have the life I have today, whatever, the money in my bank account, the car, the wife, the kids, a clear mind, like everything. I've been sober, all that stuff. It leads back to my obedience to God. Everything. That is exactly the reason why I live the life I live today. My life, I have never met anybody else, and it's not because I'm special. I've never ever met anybody else yet in recovery that has said this. But for me, my life, since day one, I got sober. My life has gotten every day, every month, every week, every year. But everything has increased. My knowledge increased. My finances increased. My relationships increased. I got married in all of this. My marriage grew. My mental health got better. My physical body got better. My eating habits got better. Amazing. 2020 last year was the worst year for the United States ever, probably. And it was probably one of the best years of my entire life. With everything shut down, scarcity, with no job, no money, how we gonna do this, what we gonna do? I was able to pay off thousands of dollars to the IRS that I owed. We paid off our car in one crack was like 11 grand we owed. We paid all of that off and we still have a lot of money left over. Like I'm into saving money. It was weird. I got sober. I'm into saving money. When I wasn't, I was like, how can I spend my money as fast as I can? Like I would buy whatever. I didn't care. Like drugs, alcohol. I'll buy this, I'll buy that just to spend. But I'm into saving money now for saving it for investing in my future because I'm not going to live forever. We one day because I cannot work anymore. And just planning for that. Our investments, we got life insurance where like, I was like, man, I'm grown up now.
That's amazing. That's amazing, man.
Yeah.
And before we go, though, where can everyone find you on social media? Where can they reach out to you if they'd like to buy some merchandise off you and everything? Let us know.
Okay, cool. We have our website. It's prorecoverypower.com. You can go there. You can see more about, because it's not just our merch there. We talk about our vision, our mission, how we help people, the lives. It talks about everything that we do. And also I'm on Instagram. It's pro_recovery_at power. And you'll see us there. You can reach out to us. We do have weekly Zoom meetings. It's recovery meetings. I host a non-denominational recovery meeting. You can talk about drugs, you can talk about alcohol, you can talk about gambling problems, sex addiction, eating disorder. Well, you can talk about the kids, your husband, your wife. It doesn't matter. We're all there to support one another in recovery, but it's non-denominational. Everybody's invited, like support groups. There's support groups like Al-Anon, people who have been affected by this. That's every night. Every night. I wish it was every night. That's every Wednesday. It's tonight, actually. Every Wednesday at 7 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. And we're on Facebook as well. To be honest, I'm not super active on Facebook, but we do have a Facebook as well, Pro Recovery Power.
That's amazing, man. And before we go, everyone, I'd like to thank Alika for coming on the show today and just sharing your story, your experience, strength, and hope. It really helped me. This is my outlet today. I'm still clean and sober, but this is my support. This is what I do, everyone, now. And I love doing it. I believe everyone's story is valuable at the end of the day. But if you could all head over to Apple Podcasts, leave a 5-star review, write up a little blurb, let me know what you think, or head over to Anchor FM and leave me a voice message, and maybe it'll get played on an episode in the future. But thanks again for coming on the show today, dude, man. It was an amazing time chatting with you.
Thank you so much, Paolo.
Aloha.